Oh my goodness. I think we are live now. We were just saying this is a good looking group of ladies. We are missing one. She's going to jump in, but hello, everybody. And I know I haven't been on here live in a few weeks, I believe, but I'm Dwaynia. I am the founder of Canadian Small Business Women, and I am oh so happy about this moment because last year we said we wanted to publish two books because we wanted to feature entrepreneurs. We wanted one book to feature immigrant women and the other book open to all Canadian entrepreneurs. And the second book is out, and these are the lovely ladies who lent their story so that they can inspire others. I just want to throw up what the book looks like real quick.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Just to see it in print, Look at everybody's names on there. Look at that. Yes, so we want to talk to the ladies. First question is, I guess we should do a little round robin and have you introduce yourselves. Let's start with Karlena. Karlena, give a little 30-second. Who are you? Tell us something fun about you too.
Okay, I can do that. Hi, everyone. I'm a virtual event producer and host. Before this year, I mostly did live events, but obviously this year we've been doing tons of virtual events. We've been able to touch people from all over the world. So I pretty much am the person behind the scenes that makes you look good online for your live events. Fun fact about me, I am a huge music and live entertainment fan, and one of the greatest chores that I did, I took a 37-hour Greyhound to New Orleans for Essence Festival and got stranded in Nashville, Tennessee for 12 hours. So that was I will never forget. But I learned a lot about myself and about just life in general, meeting different people from all over the world.
Well, wow. That's an interesting fun fact, I must say. Candace is at the party.
Hopefully it works.
Yes, you are good. We're just doing a little introduction. So we just found out a little fun fact about Karlena. She took a how many hours?
37 hours.
37-hour bus ride to go to Essence Fest and got stranded in Tennessee.
Wow. Yeah, you don't want to get trapped or stranded at a Greyhound station. I gave
up on Greyhound in university days because the one time I took it, I asked my mom, I'm like, what did I ever do to you? Why did you make me? So yes, I'm a music buff. I go to 4 or 5 concerts a year. So Karlena, when the world opens up, we are going to concerts. All right.
We're flying though. We're not.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Barbara, please let us know who you are and tell us a fun fact.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Here's the truth of it. I started in retail when I was 13 years old. Simpson Sears was doing a call out to, 10 women that they would bring into their stores. They were going to train you as their runway models. You were going to wear a cute little, little then, not so much little now, but a cute little outfit in their stores. And when on the weekends, you do the runway, and I went to school, of course, and then they would teach you everything you needed to know about modeling and about retail. Well, good gosh, talk about the beginning. I started on a lie. Wow. I was very tall, right? And so that's how I started. And so from one sort of, one door opens, the next door opens, the next door opens. And when I found myself in my 40s, I knew I was never going to be made president of anything. But I wanted to run my own ship because I could already tell that was what I needed to do. And I became self-employed in my 40s.
That's okay. Better late than never, right? That is right on time for you.
Here's a first. I was the first woman business coach in the area of Durham that worked for the federal government. The first woman. I took what I did seriously, And one thing I know now, because I'm focusing on retail back again, before I coached all kinds of businesses, but back on retail. And here is the fact, the fun fact. It's not so fun. Women are afraid of numbers.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So when I come on stage or in front of them, I sort of look like I might work at a Mac counter, but all of a sudden I can talk numbers. We can look at financial reports. We look at daily numbers. And there is the turning point when I teach them to not be afraid of numbers.
Let's not drop any knowledge on them yet, but we know that Barbara's the lady we need to go to when we need to talk numbers. Susan, tell us a little bit about you and a fun fact. And fun fact first, you and my mom share a name.
Oh, the Susan part.
The Susan part. And she said, oh, Susans are lovely, so you are lovely.
Yes, we are. Well, I'm a leverage leadership coach, and I help entrepreneurial women leverage their businesses to the next level. So women that are struggling, overwhelmed, can't see the light, but know they want growth, I help them leverage themselves so they have more free time and can see the light to leverage to push their business forward.
Awesome. Fun fact. What's the fun fact?
Fun fact is I actually did it to myself. I had to, I had a construction company and with my husband, and we wanted to 5 years ago get ready to sell it. And I knew I needed help to sell it. So I did all this research and found all this stuff and did the program myself, which led us to successfully sell our company. And that was one of the best, most fun things I did, was go through this program, because, and when I say fun, it was work, but it was fun because I could see the light of day. I could see I was doing the right things, and it made the difference, and it was successful.
Awesome.
So it actually was awesome. Yeah.
Okay. Charmaine.
Hey everyone, I'm Charmaine Cooper. Delighted again to be here with such phenomenal ladies. So super stoked. I'm the podcast host of the Char Candid podcast. And I was going to start with one fun fact, but Barbara got me stirred. Yeah, Barbara, I have a tendency to do that. I'm going to kind of amalgamate two. So the first one I was going to share is that I actually have 2 birthdays. But I realized later on in life that that's not very unique. A lot of people have that. So
Whoa. No, they don't. Let me in on this.
Who are all these people? I met people that told me, oh yeah, my aunt, my cousin, they have 2 birthdays too. I'm like, oh, okay. I thought it was original, but I do have 2 birthdays that I celebrate. And you probably want the story on that. So.
As long as you don't get 2 numbers. And then another one.
So what it was is for the first 11 years of my life, I celebrated my birthday on the 23rd of April. And on my 12th birthday, grown and everything, I wanted to see my birth certificate, and it said 24th. I flipped. I said, Mom, you are telling me I was born on the wrong day all this time. She said, I am your mother. I know what day my daughter was born. She whipped out her journal, and it said, in her handwriting, on April 23rd. So because everything was the 24th, governmentally and legally, I'm the 24th. But the 23rd, my family celebrates. So I celebrate both.
That is not where I saw that story going. I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
There are a couple people here who know me. I love birthdays. I will celebrate all month. I will roll it over.
Month long.
I agree.
So 2 birthdays, huh? I want to my family. I like that, Charmaine. I like that.
And then for what Barbara said with retail, I actually spent 20 years in the health and wellness industry, in the beauty and retail and skincare industry. And that was where my passion was ignited for connecting with people, inspiring people, and getting candid with people. So it kind of just perfectly set me up for stepping out in the water, but I won't run ahead of myself for tonight.
Wow. Love it. Thank you. Candace.
Late to the party, fashionably late.
Right on time.
At least it wasn't because my daughter unplugged the modem this time, so we're good. So I am Candace Huntley. I am the founding partner of Songbird Marketing Communications. Got Batman with me on this side, sorry, over my shoulder there. So I work with a lot of small, medium-sized businesses and individual experts to really help them connect with their audiences in creative ways through marketing channels. And I love it. Fun fact about me, that's not so secret anymore, but I am a classically trained singer. I have done opera, operetta, I've done jazz and blues, I have done gospel, you name it. I love it. It is my first passion, my first love that will always be in my heart. I'm constantly singing all the time. My daughter sings with me now. And it's also where the name Songbird came from as well. My husband was like, why are you going through all these other names? It just doesn't make sense. You're the Songbird. So that, I guess, is a fun fact.
That is fantastic. And yes, Candace has sang at one of our events before, because one of our virtual events, I jumped into one of the workshops and she was singing. I was like, what? This is happening? Kind of cool.
I rarely turn down an opportunity.
Yes, Candace is a fabulous singer. Yes, she is. Hi, RJ. RJ was on Instagram just now and hopped over. I don't think I said a fun fact, but I'm a fun girl. I don't know if I have a fun fact. I'm trying to think of something. I have nothing.
Just everything, just all
How about, Delano, you start with fabulous and go from there?
Yes.
Well, okay. You know what? Thank you, Barbara. I'm fabulous. And ... I honestly, fun fact for me is I love just life. Actually, you know what? Here's something. Summer is not official to me until every year around the May long weekend, me and a bunch of my girlfriends, we get a cottage and we just go. And we always look for a nice little town and we'll go out for ice cream. And if you catch me having ice cream in the summer, it will always be like my moment is a cone with ice cream, sitting on a bench or just standing outside in the sun. And I'm like glowing like a 5-year-old child. That is my thing. Like, it will not be in a cup. Like, Miss, would you like a cup? You can give me a cup, but you better give me a cone. Yes. So that's my fun fact. I love some good ice cream. Favorite flavor is pistachio without the nuts, but there we go. So now that we kind of get to know a little bit about everybody, I'm interested to know why. Why did you want to share your story? Because that's a whole lot of vulnerability, right? So going through your stories, I'm like, oh my gosh, because I'm not the type of person, you always see this, but I'm not the type of person who, I don't like being vulnerable. I'll just be honest about it. Let's just be honest. Like, Candace, you'll never know it because I never really say it, but I love to sing. I come from a singing family. My dad's a singer.
I know.
I love it. But you will never hear me sing because I feel like it's just too vulnerable. So yes, why? Why did you want to share your stories? I don't know who wants to go first. Let's see. I can still go in order. Like, Karlena, go ahead. Why?
Well, it's funny that you say that because I tried to procrastinate my way out of this.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just been something that I do a lot of video, and I feel like video and being on camera is more my thing. But I was always sharing my stories in different interviews and on my own personal platform and getting the same questions over and over again. So it's like, okay, maybe I should just put it in writing so then people can just read it and I don't have to keep saying the same story over and over again. But yeah, it's always been a goal of mine to become an author. And I told myself I wanted to become an author before I turned 30. I turned 30 next February. So exciting. But definitely imposter syndrome kind of was like on my shoulder, but I felt that once I got it on paper and I read through it and I was just kind of like, okay, this needed to come out. Like, it just flowed so easily. So that's how I kind of knew that it was time for me to kind of put that one chapter of my life in a book. So thank you for the opportunity and pleasure.
Try to be like, oh, I'm not done. Oh, I'm not done. And the editor was really nice. She's like, I will just start on the others. Karlena has until this date. I'm like, well, you have until this date.
But I ended up writing it in 5 days because I was still procrastinating. But I'm glad that I took the
Is
leap.
that part of your story?
Well, it's the after story now.
Yeah. That's the second book. That's the next book. She's gonna write that. Barbara, why did you want to share your story? And I learned a lot about Royal Dalton. I didn't really know what it was, but I learned a lot about Royal Dalton.
Yeah, well, I was there for almost 20 years in senior marketing, but I'll tell you, it's a very interesting question. I was trying to figure out in my head how to unpack that for you. Oh my gosh. So here's the thing. I really truly believe that, again, you hear signals in your life and you make a decision as to whether you're going to go towards that signal, whether you're going towards that inspiration. And that when this was brought to me, or when it faced me in front, I said, it's time for me to tell out loud, my personal journey. And when you said immigrant, I mean, I'm a Canadian citizen. I was born in Canada, but my family, my mom and dad, came to Canada after World War II. So it begins to tell you that I'm probably double some of your ages.
I don't know what you speak of. We would have to know history to get that.
Yeah, no, but here's the thing. I had a challenging raising, and I'll just tell you one more fun fact. I was raised by Saint Benedictine nuns in a convent school. Yikes. So from that beginning, I mean, I left the convent school. I was never going to be a nun. No, but here I was raised by them in that schooling when I was 18 years old. I was so good and screwed up, you wouldn't even imagine. So I was given the opportunity to unscrew myself and to go out there and to, from a tough beginning, to really make a difference one step at a time. And I did it. And you know what? Many times when I out on speaking engagements, and I tend to speak from the heart, not only information, but from the heart, I get women coming to me in tears afterwards because I have touched them, in the fact that my father said, you're never going to be good. You're never going to be successful. Can you imagine your dad saying that to you? Yeah. And it didn't brand me. But you then, when you say that out loud and you're able to go through those issues, and I have touched other women. So I thought, well, maybe I'd try to touch a few more. Because that's the only way, right, that we can help one another, by telling our truth. So anyway, thank you. That's what I wanted to explain.
That is true. Sometimes you need, like, I guess in both you and Karlena's position, Karlena, you were always speaking on video, and Barbara, you're always speaking on stage. And now you're able to tell your story in a different format to touch people who might not have seen you on video. They might want to flip through and read your story. It's kind of like my mini obsession with Mariah Carey. I did buy her book for my birthday, and I'm going through, and it's like the first 50 pages. I was like, oh my goodness, like I followed her whole journey as a musician, but I didn't know her story, right?
Quite a story.
So yeah, I can definitely understand. So Susan, why did you want to share your story?
Well, I've been coaching since 1999, and I coached all women, and they were just whoever showed up. I hadn't picked a niche or anything. But when I went and did this studying to become a high performance leader so that I could put a pretty bow around my business, I developed this deep passion to help other women entrepreneurs who were struggling in their business and didn't know where to go, because there's not a lot of resources entrepreneurs or small business people who have sales forces, who have staff. So, or in the service industry, there's just not a lot out there. And after I went through it and saw the success I had, and how I don't want to say the word easy, but it wasn't as hard as continuing the struggle. So it just put a fire in me to reach out and to say, like, who can I help? This is such a better way. It's just so much easier on your stress level. It just goes away. It's amazing when you think differently and you think of yourself differently as an operator, how everything in front of you changes, and you really haven't done anything. Your thoughts are different. So it's become a passion of mine to reach out and help other women who are stuck and have a business that does okay, but it's taken over their life.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Charmaine, why did you want to share your story?
I think as women, and we probably all can relate on some degree here, intimate stories are never intended to be shared. So at first you're like, I'm never sharing this with anyone. For me, that's what it started off with. It was a form of therapy, to be honest. I journal a lot, and it was a mechanism that I was able to utilize to help to gauge me through a very difficult phase of my career. Like, what do you do when your whole identity is wrapped up in what you do? And you slip into, I like to call it the slow death of comfort, and everything is now just operating as it should, and you've got this well-oiled machine. And like we know, comfort can kill you silently. And then when I was thrown a curveball, I didn't know how to respond, because wait a minute, this is my identity. This is who I am. This is what I've been doing for so long. But I realized that we aren't what we do. We are who we are. And so I had to take this process to write about something that I really struggled with a hidden shame about. And I realized that there are a lot more people just like me. Just in regular conversations, I came across people not being able to cope, not being able to deal with this productive, efficacious way. So I said, wait a minute, there might be something here. So I decided to kind of double down and reassess my self-worth. The book is really about me refocusing on what my true purpose is, not wrapping it around a career or a job title. And also not reinventing myself, but rediscovering myself. And I think women on a whole, I think we deserve to give ourselves that, to rediscover ourselves, rediscover our dreams, our passions. So I realized, okay, in my journal, this is not for me. I need to go ahead and share this, because I think that it would help at least one person out there. So that's really how this kind of birthed. And then I came across this great opportunity and this amazing community that you have here. And it was just such a blessing. It was an inner witness for me. So that's why.
Wow, awesome. I mean, I only have two things to say after that. One, I could listen to you speak forever. So podcasting, definitely, like,
it's a good place for you to be.
Two, I like the fact that you were talking about who people are, because I find that a lot of times our identity is what we do. Yeah. And we need to start thinking about, like, especially when you're introducing yourself, like, say something about who you are before you say what you are.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that, love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Candace, what is your why?
Why? Well, the opportunity presented, number one. That was the obvious one. Like Karlena, I've always wanted to write a book. I actually did write a book and then never published it. It was not my personal story. Yeah, I know. I wrote an entire book and then I just never did anything with it. I don't know. I got pregnant and that's part of the story. You know, it's life happens, and you know, I feel like I come across so many women who are in the same boat, you know, that are, I'm now a mom. When I started Songbird, I wasn't. But it was really hard for me as a very social person to all of a sudden just break away from working in an office around a bunch of people to working by myself with my dog for the first few years of my life with Songbird. You know, and then now, you know, when I was pregnant, everyone was like, well, you're not going to be able to run your business as a new mom. And I'm like, well, why not? I can't believe the number of people who told me that. And I feel like it just kind of played into the narrative that's just out there. And so while being a mom does not define who I am 100%, it's a huge part of who I am now. And so I felt like it was almost cathartic to write my story from the progression of where I started. You know, I was doing professional singing, and I was acting, and I was teaching, and, you know, I feel like I've just gone through this progression. Out of necessity, life just kind of forced me to make choices, and I like talking about those choices with people who are new in the industry. And it's just, when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, you know what, I think this would be fantastic. And it was kind of cathartic. You know, I did write basically like an entire section of my chapter on anxiety about being an entrepreneur, and I wasn't going to, because I feel like it's almost a little bit embarrassing. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to write it, and I feel like I can. And so it was just as much story, but also it felt really good just to kind of get it out there. So.
Wow. Okay. We just got a little deep. Let's get deeper, ladies.
That's me going deep. Trying to be serious.
I'm not in touch with my emotions. I'm trying to work on that. Working on it. One of my colleagues told me that, like, you're not in touch with your emotions. I'm like, great. So if there's any crying, you go to somebody else, right? Got it. That was my takeaway.
Yeah.
I want to know what you learned about yourself while writing this book. Because I'm asking this because, like, I knew why I wanted to compile these books. I'm also writing a book on my whole breast cancer journey, and there's going to be some other things in there. And I wanted to have it done this year. That didn't happen, but that's fine. It wasn't meant to be for this year. It's going to come out next year. And in writing what I've written so far, I'm pretty self-aware, and I've always known that I'm not the most emotional person. So I'm writing it, and I'm like, this is not a technical paper, Dwayne. Like, you have to actually put some feelings in there. And I had to pull back and realize that, one, I'm not going to create feelings. I am going to write the story as I see it. And because I looked at my breast cancer journey as an experience, I'm writing it like an experience. So, you know, there were so many things I learned about just the whole process that I didn't know before. I'm like, how come nobody told me this? You know, I wish I had known this before. And those are the things that, you know, like, that's kind of how my whole thought process went. And I had to just accept that it's not going to be a whole emotional thing, and I'm fine with that. But I had to see how I expressed myself and made sure I was true to myself, because if some of you know how I am, like, legit, this is me all the time. I am very forthcoming. I am very honest. I am who I am because I don't have a good memory, and I don't intend to pretend to be somebody else, and I have to remember, really.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, it is. I remember saying, it's very hard for me to tell a lie because I will never remember it. Never.
That's fair.
Only
Good
remember
way to be.
the truth. So don't ask me to lie.
So if we have secrets, we should come to you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm really good at that, except if you tell me not to tell anyone, I'm going to tell you, I'm probably going to tell one person. It's probably going to be my husband, and take everything to the grave.
Fair. That's fair.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty good. Like I can hold it down. But yeah, what did you learn about yourself while doing this? I'm gonna go backwards this time. I'm gonna start with you, Candace.
Sure. Well, you know what? I learned about myself as much as I realized things about people around me. That's not a cop-out answer. It's actually true. Like I just, even like I like went back, back. I went back to when I was little, talked about my family. And just growing up, I realized just how, even my mom, how entrepreneurial she actually was growing up. So shout out to my mom. She's probably not listening right now, but we'll hear her replay later.
It's okay.
Yeah, so I realized how much I grew up with, entrepreneurial parents. My parents always worked really, really hard, and so they instilled that in me. So that was one thing that I realized kind of about, I guess, my family growing up. But I guess, one thing that I realized about myself, I don't know, like I just, I feel like I realized that I need to stop being so fatalistic about things. I do struggle with anxiety. That is the first time that I've actually said that this publicly. Especially, yeah, there we go. There's one thing too, especially since Aurora was born. There was a period where I shut out so many people. And so I realized that, and Trevor, my husband and business partner, is a really great person to really sometimes reset as well if I'm ever like spinning out of control. But in writing the book, I realized, and writing this, my section of the book, my story, I realized that life isn't so bad. You know what I mean? Like there are challenges and there are things that, you have to overcome, whether it's personal or business, things that happen just with people around you that you love. And I've learned to be a little bit more, I would say life is just not that bad. So,
grace, right? We all have to do that. Give ourselves some grace.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Charmaine, what did you learn about yourself? I feel like we're going to be taken into the ministry of Charmaine right now, and I'm ready for it.
That's a good point. Yeah. I think one of the things of the whole theme of my part of the story, like Candace was talking about, is dealing with the aspect of taking revenge or retreating, fight or flight. I think we've all been there on some level because every person has a story. Or resetting, because that's the whole concept of what I intertwine into the story. And I think what I've learned about me is just because I've written it doesn't mean I've overcome it, doesn't mean I'm the expert and I tell everybody how it's done. It is a lived out thing in my life every single day. And I think in writing this, as therapeutic as it was for me, and hopefully for any of the readers out there, I think it reminds us that we are real. You pinch us, we feel that. You prick us, we bleed. You are going to get hurt. But like Candace said, don't park on the negative. There's still that silver lining. There's still a million things to be grateful for. And you need to, like you said, grace yourself. You need to grace others as well. So in this whole revenge concept, I think we've seen it in our society today. I think a lot of us lack the ability of gracing others. So that's something that's a big deal for me, gracing others, but also gracing myself. And that's what I learned in writing this story, that it's constantly something I'm living out.
I'm going to really hold on to that gracing others component because personally, I'm like, nice. I don't want to be bothered with you. But if I say I just am going to grace this person, it sounds so much better. I really like that. Stealing it. Probably I just said it.
That's all right.
Others. I like that. I really do. Susan, what did you learn about yourself?
So what I learned when I was writing it is I'm a super hard worker. I'm the type of person that puts her head down and just goes for hours and hours and hours, like the go-go rabbit or bunny, and kind of look up, and the next thing you know, it's 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night, and you haven't had lunch and you haven't had dinner, and you're just in operating, controlling everything in your business.
Mhm.
And I realized and gave kind of, as much as I realized I was doing all that and I knew I was doing it, I didn't know the other side of letting go of it and how great that would feel, because I felt I had to work that hard.
Wow.
I felt that if I had let go, even though nothing really changed in my business except I got to relax a bit and my kids weren't yelling at me to get off my phone and to take a break, you just realize that when you're running a business, I realized how vulnerable I was and how every time something happened, my reactions kind of took over and I didn't see anything else. So I just learned that I was really stuck in my business and my business didn't identify me and it wasn't a good place to be. It actually probably hurt my business for a few years until I got to the other side of it.
Wow.
Yeah. You don't see it when you're in it.
No.
No, yeah.
Right.
You don't
The
see it.
challenge.
You feel it. You feel it. You don't feel it in a way of I need help. You feel the anxiety and the stress and the ups and the downs and the I'm so stuck in this and I don't know what to do. Like you feel all that crap, but you don't feel the other side of, is it possible to change? Like, is that really possible? Yeah, it is. So, yeah.
She's a testament. It is possible to change people. It is.
Possible. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Barbara.
Well, what I wanted to share was that I learned quite quickly that I could do anything I wanted, that I could be anyone that I wanted to be, and it comes out in what I wrote. But I wasn't aware of that at the very beginning, in my 20s. But very quickly, I started to realize, so there's a mechanism. I'll just share with you what a typical day would look like. If I have a problem that I'm trying to solve, I'm very in touch with my clients. I'm booked with clients all day long. I work from coast to coast, all through North America and off this continent as well. I start with it, and very quickly things get solved because there's such a connection to listening to things that are inside of me and signals that are being, I hope this doesn't sound too weird, but signals that are being sent to me by my life, where I look, what I listen to. It's specifically designed for me. And I truly believe in all that. I wanted to share with everyone these things because what I learn, I share. Early on, I learned about this fabulous woman who unfortunately left us far too soon, Susan Jeffers. Her book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, unlocked what was the issues in my life. And that book, I personally feel that I have sold tens of thousands of books for her because I think there is a huge message in what she has to share with us. Because we are held back by our fears, and more women are held back than men.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that with you, that particular feeling.
And we all need to also take that, what I learn, I share.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Karlena, what did you learn about yourself?
I just learned that we all find a way, even when it feels like there's no way. Like when I thought back of how I made it to this earth, 24 hours of labor, C-section baby, was my mom parents were not planning to have me initially. And just the idea of, even when it seems like, things aren't set up in your favor, you're not meant to be in a certain arena, or you may not have the skill set to be in a certain arena. I learned through writing my story that it was a consistent theme where I was the youngest in the room, or I was the only Black woman in the room, or I was the only this, the only that. And it just didn't make sense why I was in that space. But I somehow found a way to kind of find an opportunity in every step of that path. And, you know, Candace talks about going through anxiety in her journey. That was how I got my job. I was having panic attacks every single day in the role that was my dream career. And I never thought that, you know, my dream career working with students and working with communities would be honestly the thing that probably would be the biggest impact on my health and my mental health as well. So unfortunately, I had to close that door on what I thought would be something I would do for the rest of my life. And I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan B or C that this was supposed to be it. But I just was able to, I guess, have that, you know, time of discovery and really digging deep as to what I was great at and creating something out of nothing. And just that self-reflection that we all spoke about really led to what I do now and how I work with creatives and entrepreneurs to help them find that for themselves. So I think through that process of writing it on paper, I started to see themes of, okay, at every point where it seems like everything was going wrong and not the way as planned, we all still find a way to create an opportunity or to make that next step. And you kind of end up finding a better fit. It's kind of like when you go to a store and you think these jeans are going to fit you really great or this outfit's going to look really great, and you try it on, you're like, that outfit looks terrible. Now they have it on.
We haven't been to a store in a long time, okay, Karlena?
What's a store?
Or order something on Amazon or an online store and it comes and it's not what you expected. Sometimes it might be just what you need. And I think that's what I learned in this process is at every step, it wasn't necessarily what I bargained for, but I was able to use that opportunity or that challenge to make it to another place that actually ended up being a better fit than what I thought would have been the best fit.
Wow. Okay. I want to do a little rapid fire. I don't know. Let's hope everything I want to ask is coming to my head because I'm gonna be honest, I don't usually prepare for things like this. I just kind of roll with it because I like having conversation because I love to talk. In case you didn't know. A little rapid fire. One word that you think people will use to describe your chapter. Karlena, go. One word.
This is hard.
I know, right?
Okay. Nuggets, because I don't know, in my process of writing, I wanted to be able to give people takeaways and like things that they could remember and learn from my story and not just see it as inspiration, but how they can use my story as a way to implement in their own lives. So,
all right. Nuggets for Karlena. Barbara, what's your word?
Well, she said she didn't want to use inspiration. That was the word I was going to say. So I'm not going to use it either. Possibilities.
Okay, I like that. Nuggets, possibilities. Susan, what's your word?
The first word that popped up for me was hopeful.
All right. Nuggets, possibilities, hopeful. Charmaine?
I'm not going to use inspiration either because I think the whole book is probably inspirational. But I would use the word perspective because I think we always see things one way. But just like we just come through the end of a rough year, 2020, hindsight always shows you different perspectives. So I'm hoping that people will see from a different angle, a different vantage point, a different perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine is similar. I would say mindset. Very similar, obviously, to perspective, but I would say mindset. There are lessons learned in life, and you have to face them in the right ways. So.
I know I'm so bad at this. I should have been like, you know, every 15 minutes, guys, you're joining us because, you know, we're talking to the authors of our new book. There we go. There we go with my Vanna Black. There we go.
it's tagged at the top. They'll see it.
Yeah, they'll see it. You know, we're some awesome ladies. And because I would like to wrap this up, but before I do my wrap up, does anyone have any final thoughts? And you can jump in if you'd like. You see how I sit back? That means, you know, it's all you.
I can jump in or hop in. A question that came up today was the whole idea of imposter syndrome. And I think this whole experience has been fighting that fear, as Barbara was talking about, fighting the fear and fighting the imposter syndrome that you don't feel like you've reached whatever this checkpoint is that makes you qualify to be an author or tell your story. I think sometimes we think that we haven't learned enough, we haven't done enough, and most of the time we've done more than enough to tell our story. And I think that was just something that I learned in this process, is that your story, when you share it, can impact people regardless of how old you are, how young you are, or how many different career changes you've had. There's no, criteria as to what makes your story something valid or something that you should share. And I think more of us should be sharing our stories, because that transparency and vulnerability helps others use their voice as well. So that's an experience that this
Maybe we to show the book again, for one, and two, yes, I think what we all need to do, and by tomorrow, I would like to see everyone have author in their bios, because it took me a while to do that. Technically, I did not write the book. I compiled the book. But you are all authors, and you should introduce yourselves that way too, after you talk about you. But yes. Anyone else with
I'll ride the curtails of Karlena, because she said that so wonderfully. I think also what I'd love to encourage anyone who reads these compilations is that there is an element of living that is separate from being alive. You've got to be able to grab a hold, and I love the book that Barbara referred to. You've got to be able to stare at that lion right in the face and charge it on, because it's a lion with no teeth. It's a gumming lion that's just trying to thwart you from your purpose. And you will never discover your purpose until you embrace and overcome, I'm going to say not just embrace, but overcome the fear that's taunting you, that's always told you can't, you're not good enough. There is a water walking element that I believe every human being is called to do, but very little of us, I'm throwing myself in there too, do it because status quo, and it's never been done, and I'm the first in my family, and I'm the only ethnic person, blah, 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 and I'm only a female. That is all false evidence appearing real. That's the acronym I use for fear. My pastor taught me that, because it is just a farce. And I think that there are so many things to discover when you step out on water.
I feel like, I don't know if I should do snaps or if I should
collect and plate.
Right? I'm actually typing in the chat, false evidence appearing real. I like it.
And I can I jump in?
Of course you can.
Yeah, so there's a lot too that we can we forget to take ownership, that we all assume that we're not perfect, right? But we all assume, or not, we don't all assume, but sometimes we forget to look at ourselves as being okay to look differently.
Yeah.
That we think we're stuck in this mode that we're in because this is the way we were made. So it's the way we're made, but it's also the way we've adapted. And as adults, we have every opportunity to grab onto any change if we decide that we want the change. But you have to have a desire for it first and not be okay with the status quo.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The other thing, I mean, that has a lot to do with, I think, the community and the village that's around you, right?
Sure.
And I think it's important that, I mean, you look at yourself, but also at the people around you and how you can lift other people up. I feel like it's, we're not all going to get to the top unless we all get there together. And so I feel like taking that even one step further and just looking even around you and making sure that we're all lifting each other up, because there's room at the top for everybody.
Yes.
There is. And that's where that beautiful comment comes in, gracing others.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. I think it's beautiful.
I am stealing it. We already established that. There's no shame here. None.
Part of the title of your next book.
Right?
That's a good title.
So wrong. If it is, I will definitely have a whole chapter for Charmaine. Oh, wow. So I want to wrap this up, ladies, because, it's a Wednesday night and, I'm sure we've all had busy days. Karlena, you just came off an event. I'm hoping that's the last event.
Last
of
event of
the year.
2020. Last one of
Okay.
2020.
Whew. You can breathe a little. And because the year is ending, I am going to put on my very best Andy Cohen hat and do like the housewives. Ladies, what's your rose and thorn for the year?
What does that even mean? I don't watch TV.
What?
I don't. Yeah.
Karlena, I'm with you. Somebody has to explain
I
it.
don't know why.
I didn't get it.
it. However, I must say, fun fact is I love television. Like,
You do.
love.
But you love reality shows.
I'll watch anything. My favorite channel is the Smithsonian Channel. Did you know they had a channel? Like a channel?
I know.
They do.
Like, I love everything about television. My mom still thinks that's crazy and she's still in shock, but I love TV. So the fact that you don't watch television, I don't even know how to process that. Can't process.
I watch Netflix, but I don't watch like TV on a.
I watch everything. Okay, everything.
Does children's programming count?
No, they do not. No, they do not. My whole feelings are hurt, but we're going to learn how to get over that. I'll explain rose and thorn to you.
Yeah.
Your rose is something positive, something great that's happened. Your thorn is something that might not have been so great, but you probably learned something from it, So think of a whole rose, a thorn, you prick your finger, but the rose is so beautiful.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we have the concept. Your rose and thorn.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Who wants to start? Candace, what's your rose and thorn?
Now, are we talking like big picture, or are we talking like
For 2020, because it's the end of the year, what was the great thing? And we are not allowed to say that COVID was the bad thing. We're not going to say that's our thorn.
Well, what if it's part of my thorn? Anyway, okay. My rose this year, actually, it's all kind of combined. We had a really great year with the business, and we moved into a house, and so I've got lots of things. I've got lots of roses. I feel like I'm in a field of roses right now, so I'm going to focus on that. I mean, the thorn did come from the pandemic, but I would say that so the thorn was that we did lose some work because of the thing that shall not be named, but we overcame it. So it's all really positive. That's the thorn. The thorn was like a few months in the middle of the year, but we hustled, man. It was a good year. It was a good year.
Awesome. Thank you. Charmaine, your rose and your thorn.
Yeah, like Candace, I don't want to. We're not going to address COVID because that's obvious, and there were definitely more roses than the thorn, elephant in the room kind of concept for 2020. So I'd like to broaden that a little bit. When you first asked the question, I definitely thought of my mom, because like someone already said here, my mother was a true entrepreneur, and I dedicated my portion of the book to her. And I lost her very young. So I lost her at 23. But I realized that she still lives on. And in a difficult year like this year, and we have had other difficult years, but nothing like this year, I thought of her, but I felt that her spirit continues in me stepping out. So that's my rose and thorn.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Susan.
So thinking about this, my rose this year was, so we sold our business 2 years ago. And so because of that, I get to travel. And so in 2020, I did get a month away, and then that other thing happened as soon as I landed. So I've been grounded since March. But the biggest thorn, the biggest part of that has been, so the rose part is I got to travel, and I got to spend some well-needed time on my business, my coaching business. And the thorn part is I really haven't seen my grandkids because they live in a different community, and we take it serious here. So Yeah, like everybody does. But so that's been a little bit of a thorn. That's been my biggest thorn, actually.
Well, hopefully that thorn can just, get tossed real soon so you can get to see.
Well, we got the news today that as of the 21st of December, which is Monday, I'm in Nova Scotia. So we have, even our communities, we're not allowed to leave our communities.
Wow.
So even though my daughter lives only 45 minutes away, we haven't been able to see them. We're not allowed to travel inter-communities. So as of the 21st, they're lifting it for Christmas.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh,
Isn't that nice?
that's wonderful.
Yeah. So that'll be great.
That's a bouquet of roses.
Yeah, yeah.
It is.
Barbara, what's your rose and thorn?
I'm going to share something with you that a lot of you may not know, that there are a specific type of rose that has absolutely no thorns. So I'm going to let you know.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, and they're lovely. So I have to say that I am really blessed, because years ago I said, I will know when I've made it when I have fresh flowers all over my house. One of my favorite flowers are roses. And ladies, my darling ladies, I have roses in every single room.
Oh,
Nice.
So, in a strange way, that says to me, you got your wish, kid.
You did.
Right?
Awesome.
Because the thing is, you've got that extra money that you can spend on such a lavish thing, and they can be everywhere. So that is something I wanted to share with you, not specifically, but that in general, which is giving me such joy.
Very nice.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Karlena, now that you know what a rose and thorn is, what's yours?
Of course, the millennial that doesn't know anything about that. I would say my thorn for this year is just missing a crowd. I am the person that's at the festivals, crowd surfing. I love to be in the crowd. So that's definitely my thorn for the year. But the rose to that is it's been able to open up a whole other world and part of the industry that has connected me with amazing people all around the world. I've made so many great connections and sisters and mothers and cousins from all over the world now that I'm excited for us to be able to meet each other again, because now I have tons of new friends and people that have greatly impacted me this year. So I would say I miss the crowds, I miss live events, but because of this, what happened this year, it's actually opened up way more opportunities. And I think I've done a lot more than I probably would have if I was confined to our neighborhood. So that would be the huge rose for this year.
Awesome.
Wow. Awesome. Well, I will share some. I think for me personally, my thorn is, it's going to sound a little weird, and I don't think I've ever said this publicly, but my thorn is me accepting that I am not as, I don't want to say I'm inadequate, but I am not the same person I was pre-cancer, and my body and my mind is still healing. It's very difficult for me to accept that because I'm used to me being at a certain standard. It is a very tough pill to swallow when I have to, probably read something 3 times, or the equivalent of, I know the alphabet, but I get stuck when I'm on G because my memory is still trying to work its way through. That has been the thorn for me because I hate feeling that way. Look at me being vulnerable. Look at that, ladies.
Yeah. But you know what? Awesome.
It is what it is, and I have to say it and just accept it and know that it's not going to be permanent, right? At least we hope it's not. The roses, I have a lot of roses. I mean, I finished cancer treatment. I'm alive. Let's start with that.
Right. We high five through the computer.
Right? I'm alive, y'all. I'm alive. I never really did think death was an option, but we'll talk about that in my book. That would never really cross my mind. I have way too much mess to cause on this earth. I am here. here. The fact that Karlena can understand where I'm coming from, even though all this happened, it really helped our business a lot because we were able to change quickly and adapt quickly and do online full-scale conferences with Karlena's help quickly. And I was able to really push my public speaking abilities and start doing more speaking because, again, I love to chat. So I will always say yes to that, doing a lot more podcast interviews and things like that. And obviously, these books. Yes, because, last year, when I said I still need to get this book out in February, everyone's looking at me like I was crazy because I was going through chemo. I'm like, well, this is something that I can get up every day and I can figure out how to do it, and we're going to make it happen. So when this happened, I was very proud. And then this happened. When it came in the mail, I did not know what to do with myself. So I am very thankful, very happy. Thank you, ladies. We're at the 1 hour mark. I really wanted to keep it under an hour because I am going to put this on IG. So I'm going to end the broadcast, but I want to end it by saying thank you, ladies, so much for being vulnerable and for sharing your stories because someone out there needed this. Someone needed this. And I'm very happy that we were able to present this opportunity because it was never something that was in my head a few years ago, right? And I'm happy that we're able to do this. And I thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
An honor.
Thank you for doing it. Yeah.
Facebook world, but ladies, stay around. Bye, everyone in the Facebook world. I will be sharing their profiles and how you can reach them throughout the week, and we'll do all of that.
Bye. Thank you.